Mr Chair.
The Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. Can I begin the committee stage contribution of the Civil Defence Emergency Management Amendment Bill by acknowledging Minister Jerry Brownlee, who's picked up the responsibility for the passage of this bill, and also to acknowledge the Honourable Nikki Kay, who brought this bill to the House, and as the member from New Zealand First who's just resumed his seat indicated, has maintained a very close interest in this bill to the point of contacting the various parties following their second reading contribution and saying, you mentioned this, I'd like to talk about it, you had talked about an SOP. Thank you, Honourable Nikki Kay, for your ongoing interest, and we look forward to you picking up this responsibility again. And in the meantime, you can be assured that we worked hard on it at Select Committee. You can actually tell that the Select Committee worked hard on it by the number of amendments that came back that were discussed during the second reading. I want to just primarily focus, though, on my contribution on the supplementary order paper that's in the name of my colleague Claire Curran. Mr Chairman, you may remember during the second reading stage that I and others expressed some frustration where we'd had in the original legislation the provision about the preparation of a strategic recovery plan, and there was a debate about whether it was implicit or explicit. It certainly wasn't clear. Submitters raised that for us. It was Labour's view that we should make it clear. It was National's view that because it was unclear, we should take it out. We should remove section 57A. Didn't seem like a sensible way of resolving a lack of clarity just by removing it. And we ended up, therefore, with no provision to require the preparation of a strategic recovery plan as a result of that, taking section 57A out. So what this supplementary order paper does is essentially put that provision back in. So in clause 2, section 19.3 is replaced. In clause 7, there's an insertion of the phrase the development of strategic recovery plan for emergencies, and in clause 19, the strategic planning for recovery from the hazards and risks referred to in paragraph B. So basically what my colleague has done is what the Select Committee, half the Select Committee wanted to do in terms of clarifying that original section 57A, but which unfortunately it was the one disagreement that the committee had between National and the Labour Green members on it. The National Party decided that they'd remove it. So I certainly support this SOP. It's great that the National Party have given an indication that they are going to support it as well. There's lots of legislation where you think it's probably great to have a cross-party agreement, but I don't think there's any more important than civil defence, so that right through from community organisations to volunteers to community leaders through our territorial local authorities, through the civil defence structure and through to central government, we're all on the same page thinking about how we can deliver the best response to a civil defence emergency. So this SOP being supported will give a clear message that Parliament has thought about it. We've made a lot of alterations during the consideration, and I think that the committee stages should go smoothly as a result. The other point that I want to mention is that during the earliest deliberation on this bill, there was quite some concern about the use of the permanent legislative authority, and I wasn't sure if any members would seek to amend that provision because it was raised earlier. There don't appear to be any other supplementary order papers on the table other than Claire Curran's, to which I've already referred, and I hope that is an indication that everyone is now satisfied that the use of the PLA is entirely appropriate in this situation. It was one that gave us a little bit of angst, but because there's no SOP on the table referring to another tool, I guess another mechanism, I hope that everyone's satisfied with that PLA use. We were convinced at the Select Committee that it was an appropriate use, and it seems that the Committee of the whole House is as well. So thank you, Mr Chairman, for the opportunity to contribute, and I look forward to the progress of this bill.